You know, listening to Galneryus is like a bag of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Today's song is called Final Resolution. That was the intro, okay? I dig that. I dig that. That's full-on power metal. We had a short kind of intro here. It introduced us into something grand, and it was separated from the rest of the song. And then there was a short pause where this power metal-y riff started. It really had this feel of now a battle is gonna start. And this might be the first time we're actually freaking prepared for the battle. I absolutely love that rock organ in the background. It just adds this quality which is equally heavy and equally ethereal. I don't know how to describe it. So this is quite a bunch of ordered chaos, I would say. It really communicates the dynamics of a battle pretty well. We have parts where there's tension and both sides are equally strong. We have parts that are descending, kind of implying that we're taking a few strikes. And then on the other hand, we also have a lot of parts where there's a short resolution, which means we're winning a small victory. Like, all of this is pretty well packed, and we're flying through this battle. This is as well true in the verse as it is in the chorus. I think that was the chorus, by the way. So let's just continue listening. And from tension we moved on to a heroic part. We're moving ahead. We're pushing the enemy lines a bit back. And this resolve here. So we have to stop here. They're moving through a lot of parts. Especially this chorus had a really grand, huge sound, and this kind of gave me final boss vibes, right? So we're fighting the final boss. It's this grand battle. A lot is at stake. The future of the whole world is on the line, and we have this grandness, this heroic element that at least is what the sound communicates to me. And then we moved on to a short section which was a bit calmer, probably a short meditation. Remember what you're doing this for, remember what's on the line, let's go, we're gonna do this. And then it seemed to move on to yet another new part. The piano here is awesome. There's something approaching. Nice. Again, a lot of changes. This is just the nature of battle, I guess. It can't be all structure. Like, it's not like the two generals are talking to each other. Okay, I'm gonna use this tactic and you're gonna use this tactic and it's gonna resolve like this. And no, it's not happening. It's just chaos. And this is why they're moving through a lot of parts here. They just went, okay, we're gonna have this headbanger riff. Okay, then we're gonna start the solo. And by the way, it started really cool. Like, it faded in while Shu was already shredding. I mean, let's just listen to that again for a bit. The organ again. Tension rising. And then he was already shredding when he faded in. And then we're gonna jump directly into this somewhat elegant sounding but pretty short section where it just plays these double-picked arpeggios in a descending manner. But the choirs in the background also, it has this elevated, epic feeling. And there's no repetition. It's not even similar, right? It might be the same chord progression, but he's just gonna move on directly to the next thing. You know, and then it just ended, and we went back to this headbangery riff, but the solo still continued. And then after one iteration, we already had this part with the stops. And the transition was really smooth here. I like the groove here. That's cool. I totally dig that. They just went into a keyboard solo. Why the fuck not? We just had a guitar solo which went through like, I don't know, 5 or 6 parts in like a few seconds, and then sure, we ended off with a keyboard solo, but then it's still not finished. Of course, we have a whole ending part for that as well. You know, just when you think you got the gist of what the song is gonna be like for the remaining time, they just throw in something completely new. It totally makes sense if this is actually the final battle. And I also like this. They had a lot of these parts which sounded like a glorious end, especially before, I think it was before the keyboard solo. They had another one of those. The song could have ended. I expected the song to end, but then they just went on and on. And it just feels like something new starts, right? But it's the same song. And of course, it's also the same riff. It is the same song, but I totally love that. I also like that it doesn't end like, you know, it's not, there is not a clear end. It goes a bit upward. It's more positive than negative. It's definitely not negative, but it ends in a bit of chaos. It's war after all, so it's not gonna end very clean for any of the sides involved. But you had quite a lot of those more positive, upward directed, heroic elements in this. So what I'm guessing here is a pretty close battle. I don't know if it's completely resolved yet, but it definitely looks better for the protagonist's side. We hold the swords, reflecting thunderlight. The flame of the torch brightens mighty steel. From the ancient times, the holy power was told, the last hope which defeats an evil. Now we make up our mind. I mean, the first lines literally sound like ChatGPT, please give me lyrics for this epic fantasy song. No, but we have the swords again. I mean, they're in charge. They're not just thrown around in the shadows anymore. They have earned a bit of their agency back. And reflecting thunderlight, we have this thunder topic again, which was very early, if you remember, in struggle for the freedom flag, I guess, where the rebel army was described as this thunderstorm which expanded through the enemy lines, some kind of that. So this is back. And there's a bit of grander themes we're touching on here. There's less personal problems because they seem to have resolved a bit over the last few songs. So we have this from the ancient times, the holy power was, so there's the kind of prophecy, and we're gonna fulfill the prophecy against evil, the last hope to defeat evil. We judge the tyrant who robbed our honor. Remember the father's fight. Remember the mother's worm. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be worm. Like, I think it's warmth or like womb. I'm not sure about that one. Feel the power that can't be controlled. We hold the swords and tie them to one. As for you, what can be seen in the blaze? I mean, although this is a bit difficult to understand, like in its entirety, what stands out to me here is we had this last song where it seemed to be they're singing about the next generation. They actually talking about fathers and like fathers fight and their parents essentially. So the question is, did actually the parents die over the last few songs and it's now the children which have the new power to defeat evil? I mean, it's also on a metaphorical level. If you're having a fantasy story, essentially if you have dying parents, they're just like kind of representative also of the parents, of course, but of your old self. Right? You have a new self developed, and this is bringing the power necessary to defeat the evil the parents couldn't defeat. We hold the swords and tie them to one. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but if we actually have a lot of like micro swords which are just merged into one big sword, that's also a metaphor here. In my eyes, the sword is basically a metaphor for like power and agency. As I've said, the sheep are dominated by the fear. Now we'll break iron cage and coming out. I can't help but notice how the tone changed. I think we started off with a more like general extroverted view on the political situation of the world, right? But then we moved into this hole which got more personal, and we are fighting personal struggles. We hit a personal dark place, and the further they resolve this dark conflict within themselves, the perspective shifted again to the outside events. They're kind of assuming a more general view on the events. There is way less focus on the individual. You know, screw that old guy who robbed our honor, and the sheep, they are dominated by fear, but we're gonna set things right. Now we'll break the iron cage. The hope shows us the way, and that covers the world. Wish of our uniting kills any evil. So there was indeed a problem that the forces of the rebels, which seem to be like everyone who is not on the tyrant side is basically a rebel, but they were all separated, and so they had to find a way to join together, and the wish of our uniting and the wish of freedom for everyone all over the world is basically what leads the way and what defeats the evil. So I think we judge the tyrant who robbed our honor. That was the chorus as it appears. Remember now, the experience of freedom. We are the one and there is no fear. Only we'll march to take glory of our life. No one can change our resolution. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much tying up a lot of things they went through. It's kind of also explaining the conclusions which were reached through that process. Here, for example, this theme, okay, remember the experience of freedom. Remember there was something, and this is basically what fuels our vision to reclaim that freedom. We are the one and there is no fear. There is no fear because we're together. The separation is gone. We have found each other essentially. And yeah, again, I think I said something in a earlier song, which is, okay, we have found the solution for the problem, but we still have to live like it. So the world aligns in our favor according to our plan. And I think this has been reached, and this is probably communicated by this from the ancient times. It's this prophecy. We're aligned with the prophecy. We have found that alignment again. And we're gonna screw over this guy. I mean, it's the tyrant again. They're talking specifically about the tyrant. It's not unspecific dark forces. It's not, oh, sadness, coldness, chaos, whatever. It's that guy. Like, if we screw over that guy, it basically solves the problem. And of course, just looking back at the chorus again, like, feel the power that can't be controlled. We hold the swords and tie them to one. It gets really epic. And I mean, that's also reflected in the music as well, of course. I mean, you heard it. So that was a really cool song with a lot of unexpected turns and twists. I'm surely gonna listen to this again, and I'm excited to hear this in live as well. So thanks for watching this episode. As always, please let me know in the comments what I can improve on this format and what you think about the song and all of that good stuff. And we're hopefully gonna meet again in the next episode.